Hello, doll friends. This is Michael Canadas with the Grovian Doll Museum and the Carmel Doll Shop. Today I have my friend Denise here, and it's so nice that you're handy.
Yes, that's kind of fun.
She shared her paper dolls with us not too long ago, and I thought it would be nice to do one of these small study groups on something you don't have in your collection.
I do not have
which is
one of
vast
these.
and wondrous.
Oh, sure.
Yes, it is.
Well, I do like a lot of different
You do.
things, but I do not have one of these.
Now, we have done a program on this particular company before, but I feel that it is probably the beginning, this company, KPM, which means the King's Porcelain Manufacturer, is one of the first porcelain manufacturers of dolls of all.
Very early.
It's the beginning. And the main feature that this company did, I knew about this company before I got involved in dolls, because their main products that they created were decorative arts pieces. So it would be centerpieces, urns, statuary.
So not dishes or dishware, anything like that.
They were the King's porcelain maker. And even in the world of decorative arts, their pieces are rare and coveted. Lots have been lost. We've had 2 world wars, which many pieces have been lost. And I will tell you, David and I were antiquing in, I'm not going to tell you where because I'm still thinking about it, but they had a centerpiece that was this big, and it was the 4 continents. And it was just monumental. And you have to think, where do you put this?
Where do you put this?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
long dining
but
table.
what it had were figures. It was a KPM piece, figures better than these.
You have to get it.
Yes. So the interesting thing about this company, there is an excellent book.
Yes.
That
You have that.
if you are interested in porcelain dolls, china dolls, if you like, you should have this. That being said, this collection that's in this book is pretty much a few people's life's work in collecting these dolls, because in our almost 40-year career, I think we've had about 8.
Oh my.
And that's not many.
Yeah.
That we've had a lot of other very rare things, way more than that. So we've brought out Adelina and Albert, which you've seen before, and we've reproduced them, but I haven't put them back on the bodies because I wanted Denise to have a chance to hands-on, get your hands in there now. You can touch them, and tell me what your impression is.
This lady is a graceful, beautiful lady, and the way that her hair is formed on the sides as well as in the back, you just don't see. It's remarkable, I think. Very remarkable.
And if you look at it, there's so much that just time could go wrong with that. Now, Carl, who made the reproductions for us, made a mold. The front and back are 2 pieces. This piece here, the side braids, that is a separate piece. And then the back is 2 pieces.
Oh my.
So this is very complex to reproduce.
So they're actually applied
to
it after it's...
Yes, they come in a mold, and then he puts them in the mold, and then he has to use the slip to attach them, and then he has to clean it so that you don't see, it looks like it's all one piece.
Right.
But if you also notice, you're not seeing any side seams either.
Oh my.
So that's all been cleaned in the greenware stage.
And also her hair is brown.
Yes.
Which is what you see, black, aren't we? Yes.
Because these are the first experiment in dolls being made for children and mass produced. But when you, if we go by the inventory of what was produced in the KPM book, it's a very small amount of things and very erratic too, which kind of, you could think that maybe this was just a side hustle.
And they were
for
making
them.
other things like the big
Yeah.
4 continents.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And
Look at him.
then we have the boy, and the reason we know that it's a boy, it's got a shorter neck, it's a thick
child.
neck, yeah, and a typical boy haircut, although girls could have short hair too at the time.
This sort of little peak here.
And I think we should show them, this is one reason I haven't gotten them back on their bodies, to show the amazing marks. So you've got the...
Let me just turn him.
The eagle,
It might be easier to see.
the KPM, and quite a few check marks for various reasons that are in this book. Now, I haven't, Christiane has arranged these by model numbers. I don't remember the models because, you know, I think you have to handle them and get them. I mean, I'm not going to call you up and say, Denise, I want an F2.
Right.
Because I'm going to take whatever you've got.
And some of them look pretty similar looking through the book and their hairstyles. Yes. But I've noticed also that the stamps are different. She has a different stamp.
But doesn't she have the same one? Well, and that could be year to year. They changed it. Yeah. But let's flip her the other way and see if it is. And there's your KPM.
There's.
And it's interesting that we can compare the blue, cobalt blue color of his eyes, and hers are a little lighter than his. It's the same color as the mark.
Okay.
Now, one thing that is interesting, I personally don't feel that there's any arms that you can really associate with this company. Limbs, arms and legs. These have been attributed to the company, but maybe they are and maybe they aren't.
They're very slender.
Very slender, and this one doesn't have much pink on it, but this one does.
It's a little number.
But you know, maybe they are and maybe they aren't. But what made me decide to do this whole discussion again with you was this little lady.
Lovely lady.
So I'm going to gently take her bonnet off.
Look at those
which
noses.
Her bonnet is wonderful, and I know that you're working on a program for Belinda, our doll in Williamsburg, that is going to have a special bonnet that has a little bit.
It's very similar.
So tell us how complex that is to do.
Yes.
Or not.
Well, it's not. They've pinched the fabric and sewn it, but leaving a channel. And I'm not sure if this is a straw or what it
maybe a little reed of some kind.
Reed, and then you have to. It takes a while to feed those in.
Yeah, that's
I tried feeding the one that I made one at a time, and it was all over the place. So no, eat all of them basically.
You have to do it at one time. Okay, that's.
Otherwise, it's twisted up, and it's a mess.
So this wasn't.
Get frustrated.
It wasn't easy then, and I'm sure not now.
Yeah.
But this lady came our way, and she's going out the door too, which I really. I'm not happy about it, but I have to be adult. So now we have, I think, from this face to this face, a little more maturity, a little bit older.
I can see that.
The nose is a little longer. This doll appears to be happier to me, just the personality. But what I thought was really interesting about her is that if I turn her around, she has no bun.
No.
But yet there's a place there.
There's a space for it, isn't there?
So this creates a conversation. So we've got hairstyle about 1840, could be a little earlier, but not much. So what was here? Was this cut off so that she could wear bonnets easily? But I had an old-time dealer, one of the, somebody I actually trust their point of view, and they said that in the past, back in the 60s, they had had a KPM that came to them with a bun that was actually a waxy material.
Oh, so you could change her hairstyle.
Yeah.
With different...
So a waxy material that had hair in it and flowers. It wasn't wax, but it was some kind of applied material.
It would stick then to this.
Right. And that probably petrified over time and just fell off.
Oh my heavens.
Now, when we had this at the event in Seattle, everyone went crazy for her, but they also went crazy for these hands.
Lovely.
Which are
graceful,
out of this world. And the minute I saw these hands, I knew what they were. So again, we're talking about maybe this doll on this body, this is the original body, if it could be. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. It could have had leather hands that rotted away. And in the 1940s, there was a very famous doll hospital called the Humpty Dumpty Doll Hospital in Long Beach. And that was the place Emma Clear was.
Emma Clear.
Emma Clear was the owner. And remember in the 1940s, they were not interested, collectors were not interested in bisque dolls.
Right.
You know, girl dolls or bebés, because to them, those were
newer to them.
They were the new.
Right.
They played with them.
That
so they wanted these really old ones because she would have been 100 years old at the time. So out of the Gay Gardens collection, there is George and Martha Washington, as they should be for the Gay Garden. And these will go back to Gay Gardens because George Washington surveyed the land that Gay Gardens is on. Wow. So George and Martha have to go back.
Of course.
I digress.
Of course.
So back to this is an original piece by Emma Clear. So all she did was took her own sculpt of her own doll, sized it down one, fired it for this doll. And I think we can say safely that copyright 1940.
Oh my.
So in a way, those arms have been on this doll for a really, really long time.
She made knuckles. It's
very,
very
look,
beautiful.
Veins.
Very beautiful.
I mean, look at, you can see the veins in it.
Oh.
I mean, it's really amazing. And I'm looking forward to getting these. I mean, these are haven't even been cleaned. But so, you know, would I change these on this doll? No.
It's part of her story now.
Yeah. And then I think I left out the part of, and maybe if we have a little sample of a little boy. So here you have the technique that was used by most doll makers at this time in the 19th century, later part of the 19th century, poured. So they could pour them in by I mean, it's just like pouring slop into a bucket. You pour it in, slop it around, dump it out. These are different. The reason that they're so hefty and you see little openings and whatnot, this is all hand rolled out. This is known as pressed bisque.
Pressed.
And one thing I would like to do at some point is start to measure how there had to be a regulated
shoulder or body?
Yeah, or how thick the porcelain would be.
Okay.
So here you can see a modern version. This is by Carl Armstrong, which she did a fantastic job. Yes. But it's very thin compared to the originals. Are much thicker.
They are.
But remember, he can control his temperatures. He sets the dial, and it's ready to go. Where they're working with stoking ovens.
They had to start a fire.
They had to start a fire, exactly.
And it looks like there's glaze inside.
Sure, because I think that a lot of it, they
Inside.
just dump it into their glaze pot and pull it out. You know, they
Want me
didn't,
to lift that?
because it's glazed everywhere.
They're beautiful. Look at the full lips.
Yeah, they're
The
beautifully
noses
painted.
are gorgeous.
Now, do you notice anything else about their painting?
This is a test.
Is it or isn't it? It's kind of one of those things that.
Well, is it or isn't it what?
Okay, I'll.
You gotta.
Oh, goody! I got
Oh,
one
look at
on
her ear.
Denise.
Look at her. Oh, more than one.
It's no eyelashes. So look, there's no painted eyelashes, uppers or lowers.
Just a kind of orangey line.
Just a line. And so that's kind of a signature that you want to look for. Now, we have had these reproduced, and the reason we did this is because we wanted a doll to play with. We wanted to be able to dress this era, but have something that's right, not try to take something that's later and make it earlier. We wanted something that was just right. I would dress these two, no problem, once. That's it. I'll do it once.
Right.
That's it. I won't take the
put them-
clothes on and off.
No.
So we wanted something with playability. So in the future, when people are going, how do I tell the difference? It's really easy. So we're going to play some music.
Oh.
Low fire.
Listen to that. It
High
rings,
fire.
doesn't it?
Yeah. He's a little bit flat because I think he's so thick. But here with these two, you really get, and that Carl Armstrong taught me that. This is fired, which all makers today use, fired at hobby level for hobbyists. These were fired the same temperature for the mammoth
all of their
centerpiece, their plates, their vases, everything. So if you're in a situation where you just don't know, because these are in the land of China, really the top of the heap, price-wise. The only thing that's maybe more than them are like a Hire, something like that. These are up there.
But like they didn't spare any detail on these.
No.
Just the sculpting, her nose and her chin.
And think about this, Denise. These were a lesser product. These were something that they
kind of on the side.
Yeah,
when they weren't busy
they don't
with
want to talk about.
continents.
They don't want to be involved in the child.
doll
You know,
maker.
children's toys are ephemeral. They're not meant to last. They didn't want. They don't really want to be associated with this product.
But still, they did their best.
They did their best. Sure.
They did
And-
people on that big centerpiece,
Sure.
and then they did.
And I
these.
think that they used probably the painters and the finishers for these were the beginners that had to learn how to prepare.
Oh, maybe there you go.
You know, and
That makes sense.
not that I have to tell you, in the pieces that we have had, I've never seen anything that I would call beginner. They are all very advanced. But there's a simplicity to them, and I'm about to say something that will get me in a lot of trouble with some people, which is they're part of the Biedermeier era, which is the Germanic version of Victorian. So
Which covers a
a
long,
long
period of time.
I
Okay.
mean, it has its official period, but it really, if you went into an antique shop in Germany and said, I want, do you have any Biedermeier era doll? They'd know exactly what you're talking about. They would know that you want a Victorian doll, basically. And these are part of American Victorian nurseries, English nurseries. They did have a nice reach and made it all over the world. And if you think about it, with their decorative arts business, they had a way to market the product. And then, of course, everyone else fell into line, and it would be, if you were Kessner or any of those other big companies, you could easily undercut them.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I really do recommend, we were talking before we started filming that we all have an obligation to promote books. So this is not our book. It is not, this is Christiane Grafnitz's book. And I think it's a wonderful thing to have, because you have just amazing amount of
It's a wonderful reference.
And not to take credit for things, but I go through this book and I see part of our career flashing before our eyes. And I also think, well, why did I let that go and that go? But,
the boys especially are so beautiful.
Yes.
I just love these little boys.
But you know what? You can't, if you have a chance to get one, you just have to take what you can get. You can't, it's not like you're going to have that many chances, because pretty much everyone that I've ever seen, we've bought. So.
Well, even though these may not be original, they certainly go with
Well,
her,
I think
and they
it's
look
part
beautiful.
of a story, and of course, as this doll
They
is
fit
going
her.
to a California collector, and that's part of a California story. And the Humpty Dumpty Doll Hospital and Emma Clear really did do a tremendous amount for the hobby. You know, that they kind of did what we're doing, which is they reproduced things so that people could have them to dress and whatnot. So
Emma Clear did on glaze, or the porcelain bisque.
Oh yes.
And also glazed? Did
yes.
she? Okay. Well, she did that.
She did all of this kind of work.
Okay.
And she reproduced, right off the dolls, and then she did a few. Like this is an original piece, and I don't know what inspired her to think of. I've got to do George and Martha, and. But I think that her hand sculpts are pretty darn
They're beautiful.
Great.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
This one seems to be whiter than others that we've had, so that may have been what. And here's what's really how we're so spoiled. If you wanted to do business with Emma Claire, you'd write her a letter.
Oh, of course. Oh my gosh, of course.
And I'm sure she advertised, and maybe Ann Coleman could confirm this, I'm sure she advertised in Hobbies magazine. Have you heard of Hobbies magazine?
Yes,
Which is like the first periodical where you could do this. So imagine someone probably sent this doll
through the mail.
Through the doll, and then got it all put together.
Oh my gosh.
And so.
Well, I remember we used to have to, like in the 80s, getting American Girl dolls for my nieces. You called them up and you told them your name, your address, your credit card. I mean, you had to tell people.
No, it was a totally.
Yeah.
And this is now 1940, so that's 84 years ago? Is that, am I right with my math? Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so, or 83 or something. That was a long time ago. So soon these arms will be not going to be as would we rather have arms that were just exactly for the doll? Yes, but you know what, when you collect chinas, you're less you're a little more fluid with all of these things. Well, I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and I hope that you all get lucky, but not more lucky than us. And you can find yourself a KPM China. And it literally means the King's Porcelain Manufacturer. And I can say it in German.
Konig.
But David cursed it.
Did he try?
He cursed it. So anyways, bye-bye, friends.
Bye-bye.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.